Okay, we're going to check for outliers. An outlier is a number that's drastically different to the rest of the data. Actually, there's a mathematical meaning as well. So an outlier is any number that is more than 1.5 the IQR above Q3 and below Q1. Okay, so we're looking at our set of numbers, and if Q1 is here and Q3 is here, an outlier would be something that is more than 1.5 times this distance this way or this way. So let's take a look at the data that I've got here, and I'll show you how it works. So we've got temperatures that are in Fahrenheit, and 70 degrees, by the way, is about 21 degrees, so it's sort of nice temperature, a little bit cool. So I'll put it into the calculator. I'm going to hit calc and then 1var, okay, and I need to go down till I see what Q1 and Q3 is, because I need to work out the IQR. The calculator won't tell me that. I need to know that the IQR is Q3 take away Q1. So in this case, Q3 is 71.5 and Q1 is 70. Okay, so the IQR is really small, actually, it's 1.5. So now that I've got the IQR, I need to use that to find some outliers, or check for outliers. There might not be some, but I need to check. So remember our rule. An outlier is something that is 1.5 times the IQR. Okay, so let's times 1.5 by 1.5. So we'll take our IQR, which is 1.5, and we'll times it by 1.5 to get 1.5 times 1.5, 2.25. Okay, so now I go to Q1 and I take away 2.25 from it. So Q1 was 70. Take away 2.25. 70, take away 2.25. Let me fix that. Is 67.75. So any number that is lower than 67.75 is an outlier. Are there any numbers in there that are lower than 67.75? No. Now I go to Q3 and I add on 2.25. And so I get, okay, 71.5 was what Q3 was. Add on 2.25, and that gets me 73.75. Now, are there any numbers here that are larger than 73.75? Well, I can see one there. There he is. So that number, 300 degrees Fahrenheit, would be an outlier. Now, you've got to check for these things, because you can see how small that IQR was. 73.75, there's a number there that's close to that. Okay, so even though 300 was the big obvious one, there could be others. Now, how does that impact what you need to do? Well, when you make a box plot, I'm just making this up, when you make a box plot, your outlier, because it's so big, doesn't get included as your minimum or your maximum. It gets jotted down as a star. Okay, so anything that's a star, anything that's an outlier, will get jotted down as a star. And then your maximum, say in this case, 300 is this number, the star up the top. A maximum would be the next highest number, which is 73.